One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm muted. What's up, Flockers?
There we go. I was getting ready to say. I see your comment. Plus, my mic isn't currently working. So,
just another manic Monday.
Yeah, I don't know. My mic is cut out during shift shows, so I was just thinking, is it terrible?
No, it sounds good on my end.
Oh, okay.
So, are you using the Rode USB one?
No, that's the second one that fucked up on me.
Really? So it completely went kerplunk.
We couldn't get it to stop making this static sound, and I tried unplugging it and plugging it back in. I did all the things that I know how to do. So my webcam has a mic on it, so that's what it's going through right now.
Wow. I mean, those are they get really good. Dirtydan, I assume yours is okay.
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, you're just fine. I'm going to have to research for a Queen mic.
Yeah, for the crowd.
I told you guys, I think I told you two backstage a few weeks ago, I'm going to be getting a new board, so I'm going to be letting you all have my board. So, the XLR mics and all that stuff. I would show you a picture. You guys know what the board looks like. I would have to move my camera, my computer, and I finally got it to where it would stop sliding. Thank you very much, Mike. I'm looking forward to those. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the comment there earlier too. Thank you, buddy. Why don't you, Rebecca, if you get time, look and see what kind of microphone would work for your setup, and send me a couple of choices, and we'll get it sent your way. So
I will help you find the right site for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Dirtydan. Guitar Center is a good site. So
www.bw.com.
BW.
WWBW, Woodwind Brass Wind. That is where I've always gotten all my music stuff from. They are honestly the most reputable wholesaler that they get it right from the factory. It's not like they're getting return batches. They get it right from the factory. Every company, anything you can find, a $10,000 half stack setup is $4,000 on WWBW.
Send me that link too if you don't care, because I usually get my stuff from, I guess it's BH Photo in New York. That's actually really good. So,
and WWBW is actually out of Indiana.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Paul, and the board does have spots for sound drops. So
that's what I'm.
Buttons, and we're gonna switch all of them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
It is and if you're curious, Paul, I mean, and I'm sure nobody really gives a shit. It is a Rodecaster Pro board that I will be getting to Dirtydan and the Queen very soon. So, how's your day been so far?
It's been interesting. How's your day been?
It's been a little busy. But I had some internet problems back here a little bit. That's why we're starting late. I had to reset it a couple of times, but finally got it working. Dirtydan Grand Rising. Love that.
I just played with Char and the dog, stacked a bunch of wood, cut a little bit more.
Off today.
You've not done a damn thing today, Dirtydan.
Yeah, nothing at all. Took care of her when she got home. Yep, nothing at all.
How did the barbecue turn out yesterday? Because I saw the TikTok with the.
Oh my god! He's gonna get so mad. Nobody read his TikTok. It was a draft drop. And it's not even in the same spot. It's out front.
And I even pinned a comment. Pinned a comment.
He's had everybody asking him, "Oh my God, what'd you make? What'd you make?" It was a draft video.
Oh, like Hambone commented, "Oh my God, 20 degrees there today." I mean, it was cold yesterday, but it wasn't that cold.
Well, see, I was thinking it wasn't that cold where I was at, and I was thinking, what the hell? I did know something was up, but with all fairness, I was at a basketball tournament.
Were you?
Yes, I was, and we're not going to say anything else about that. But it was really hard to hear inside, because I didn't have my headphones with me. So I saw that, and I thought, oh man, that looks pretty cool. And I was putting it up to my ear by the time the horn blew, and I heard 20 degrees. Yes, go ahead.
I'm just curious how it being loud inhibits your ability to read.
Well, it doesn't.
Well, you don't have eyes on the side of your head if you're doing this.
See,
Well,
so and I heard that.
I think I see the word. Nope, I don't got it. I can't see.
Okay. See, yeah, there you go. But and because I started it, and I seen him, light them, throw it in, and I'm putting it up. I'm 20 degrees. I'm like, oh. So then I thought and I saw nobody commented on it because I think I was the first one to comment on it, and I thought I'm just going to go ahead and show Dirtydan some love.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, and there's quite a few comments on it now. But the description of the video says half draft, no binder, just a little flavor. Let the wood do its thing. And then the first thing you see on there is the pinned comment says, "Everyone read the description. This is from March of this year."
Okay. I'm sorry, buddy.
That's okay. So while we're on the topic of old TikToks, the one that I was looking for that I just figured out what happened, that was from many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I wasn't in Philly yesterday either.
Okay.
I promise.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure. Carry on.
Okay. We were supposed to have a guest join us, but
Yeah.
she hurt my feelings.
It's fine. It's fine.
She didn't really hurt my feelings, but shit mess. Please, you're welcome anytime you want to come on. We love having you. Dan, you should reach the Queen.
It was a scheduling conflict, so.
Yeah, and I totally understand. Scheduling conflicts. Yeah, she can. Something that I have realized, man, is some of the TikTok shit is really hard. Like, and I've been posting. I've been posting on the Here at You Bubblegum page, and posting a lot more on my personal page, and it's been getting a lot of views and comments. And the one I posted yesterday, the part 2, I love it. If nobody's got a chance to see it yet, especially at the end, because if anybody was a fan of Benny Hill and his little theme song, I apply that. And that was, it's impossible to almost get a TikTok, a song to start in the middle or at the end of a video. Do you know how I did it?
With the
No,
Sure.
I just turned to Rebecca for all my help.
Okay. So can you actually do it with the edit and position the song where you want to? Okay. Well, I didn't do it that way. What I did was I Googled, and they were saying to download all this stuff. And, I thought, fuck that. Oh, I don't know why I went, but I thought, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. Oh. So I took just a song with a picture, and then I downloaded it, and then I deleted the TikTok with the song that I wanted to use. And then I opened up, an editing thing on my phone and positioned the part of the video I wanted to use with the music from TikTok so they wouldn't ban it. And then when it came time, I uploaded that part. So
that sounds like a lot of extra steps.
Well, I will. The next time I'm going to do that, I will try just to put it on a track. See, because I'm still new at this, so
Well, if you do it for 15 seconds, then you can go into the sound, and if you click on the sound at the bottom, there's little scissors, and then you can before you hit start, you can you can run the time to the song to where you want it to start.
Okay. Yeah, Goose dropping F-bombs. Yeah. I actually tried that. And what that was doing on that particular song before I did it the way that I explained it is it was cutting the song short, and it wasn't fitting over what I'd already had.
You can only adjust the clip for 15 seconds because the rest of them are a minute, so you can't have it.
Okay, well, this was like a 40-some second clip. So, I took...
You can't do that with the 60-second one.
I did it, but I explained to you how I did it. Do you guys want to get started with some email?
My head hurts from listening to that.
I followed it.
See, there you go, man. You're being a dick to me again.
Not being a dick. What I'm saying is I don't.
Don't be a dick. That's the lesson.
I can't TikTok very well.
I like Paul's comment. So what you did was make something simple really hard. Yes, Paul, I am an expert.
That's what she said.
I am an expert at doing that. Oh, touche, Dirtydan. Very good. Let's see. Poison Apple writes in. It says, it's been a while since I've emailed. I've been re-listening to some past shows, and I can't remember the episode number. You were talking about the, quote, alleged moon landing. It was mentioned that NASA had lost the technology and taped over the original video. Goose made a comment that the craft looked like it was made out of trash bags, sticks, and duct tape. I laughed so hard when he said this. After I got my composure, I looked at pictures of different ships that, quote, allegedly took men to the moon, and Goose is right. They look like something a child would make. How did people ever believe that could allegedly, quote, allegedly, go to the moon? Roswell. Thank you very much, Poison Apple. Dirtydan, do you want to answer that first? Do you want to give your thoughts on that first?
I mean, yeah. So, first off, we all agree to that. It looks like gold painted aluminum foil and PVC pipe is what the majority of that shit looked like, and whatever they picked out of a trash bag to stick on top is a star on a Christmas tree. And I think because at that point in time, you got to think back into media and news source outlets and whatnot. There wasn't the internet and all that shit. They had their black and white TVs. You had to smack on the side to get the static to clear up. And it was a space race. It was, Cold War's gearing up. They got all the Korean conflict. And people relied heavily on what they read in the newspaper or what they heard the same guy who sounds like this talk on every TV station. And, that's
whole show like that.
No. And that's what they did. So, whatever they said, they weren't none the wiser. It's not like people had 1,000 friends on Facebook or 10,000 followers on Twitter just posting pictures and it just spreads like wildfire. And that was really before the majority of people knew the government lied to us. And
I totally agree with you. Congratulations on the new job and raise. Big congratulations.
Hey, good job, Dave. I just want to, for people that don't know, Cindy and Dave came down and hung out with us. We met them for the weekend, and I wasn't worried about Cindy, but I had never actually talked to Dave or met. And Dave is a genuinely awesome guy. Thoroughly enjoyed my time getting to talk to him, getting to know him. And Cindy, if you guys are not if, but when y'all do come back down, I think Dave and I are gonna venture out to a little car hotspot so he can relive some glory days.
Well, anybody with the name Dave or David is an awesome person, flat out.
I mean, I agree. Same with my dad.
Thank you. Yes. And anybody with the name Robert is an awesome person and a little bit of a smart ass and a little bit of an asshole sometimes. Right, Rebecca?
Would you rather have the asshole or the whole ass?
I'd rather have the whole ass.
Yeah.
That's Bob.
Do you want to answer that email from Poison Apple, Rebecca, and then I'll give my thought.
So you guys are talking about the fact that it looks like I completely agree with you. Like I could have done better on making a spacecraft, right? But I want to talk about the fact that they lost the technology and taped over the You don't lose that shit. Just like, oh, we lost the laptop. You don't lose that shit. Like, that's not shit you lose. It could, okay, maybe it could be in one of 7 places, but you don't fucking lose it.
Hey, speaking of that,
to the fucking universe, and you're just gonna tape over it. I don't think so. Bullshit. I call bullshit.
No, you said something before on that I think it was. Do not quote me on this, but I remember you saying something along the lines of maybe it wasn't lost, but it was never ours to begin with. I think you said something along those lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, I'm I think both of you are right, and I totally agree with Dirtydan. Back when this quote allegedly happened, you know, people didn't have the technology that they did today. I mean, you know, your cell phone has more technology than the craft that allegedly got manned to the moon. I think that people have more faith in the government. They have more faith in their leaders. They believed what they were told. That was a time when the media reported the news. They didn't make up the news. And I think that's what people believe.
Whoa.
I don't think that they report. I think that it was made up. I just think it was made up in such a way where back then, right, it wasn't as easy to debunk. It wasn't as widespread. There wasn't the live in-person reporting, photographing, recording of shit that we have now.
True. So, Dirtydan, what were you going to say?
Well, I don't think, you know, the difference is that they reported the news back then. They made up the news now. We can't confirm or deny that it hasn't been one or the other ever since. It's just evolved to the way it spreads and what spreads.
Okay.
You know, again, like I was saying, it could have all been made up then, but it was just a single source outlet. Everyone got the same piece to give. There wasn't 98 contradictions.
Okay. I concur with what you're saying. I think that during that time, you had, you know, and, you know, I have never heard anything bad, and I've not researched him a whole lot, about Walter Cronkite. You know, he seemed to be, I mean, he would like, there was some stuff that he said during the Kennedy assassination he wasn't supposed to give out, but he went ahead and done it anyway. You know, I think and it's been years since that I read a book about him, and I can't remember, you know, exactly what it said, but he, you know, was kind of the rebel that went against what they told him. And that played into him when he got older and they thought that he wasn't relevant anymore. They got rid of him. I think, and what I meant by my comment is I think the news was more trustworthy back then than it is today.
Okay.
And I totally agree with you, Alan. I totally agree with you.
We still have to have DJ back on for that NASA talk, if you remember.
Well, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So if we go off the theory that like the TV itself was created as a form of brainwashing and distraction, I mean your TV is no different than any other like portal or mirror or anything like that. Like we need to get our TV out of our bedroom, but like I don't have mirrors in my bedroom. So if the TV is also a portal, right, and it's relaying all of these different frequencies which are getting amplified and distorted through your house, through your TV, I completely agree. Like the TV from day one, right? Like we didn't need that. It was just a way to keep us controlled and complacent and bored and tired. Distracted.
And I totally agree with that. Now, my mother had bedrooms on the ceiling in the house that we lived in when I was growing up, over her bed.
She had bedrooms on the ceiling?
I'm sorry, she had mirrors on the ceiling over her bed.
Mama Goose.
And I asked her, I said, why do you have, I mean, because I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I'm like, you know, you just picture little Goose. I'm like, Mom, why do you have ceilings, or why do you have mirrors on the ceiling over your bed? She's like, well, you know, because if my hair's messed up in the middle of the night, I can brush it. So, and I just totally made that up. She did not really have mirrors on her ceiling.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. I was going to say, holy fuck.
Oh, Dirtydan, you want to take the next email, Dirtydan?
Yeah, scarring images running through my head thanks to Goose's little made-up story there. We got DD fan writing in. It says, Dirty Dan, with your love for grilling, smoking, and cooking meat, what meat would you recommend for someone that is just now getting into grilling? I need something that is easy to prep and will feed 5 people. So, I mean, are you just getting into grilling? Is it the smoking part of it? I mean, I got an answer for both. For the grilling?
Yeah, I would assume grilling, since that's what he said he was just getting into. So, well,
I mean, someone commented on my TikTok
meat.
that said they just got a pellets grill from their wife. So, you know, I don't know if I don't know who DD Fan is. So I don't know if it's the same person or not. So I'll give answers for both.
There you
go. Get yourself a good burger recipe. You know, figure out if you like your stuff a little fattier, a little leaner. With the more lean, the more shrinkage. But, you know,
that's
guys know how to compensate for that. And you know, find a good burger recipe. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overspice it. You know, 2 pounds of ground beef will make 10 burgers, no problem. That should definitely feed 5 people. You know, unless they're my size, then it's going to be 4 pounds. And, you know, just go from there. Keep it simple. And for smoking, easiest thing to learn how to smoke is pork. Always get like a pork loin or a shoulder or a butt, and low and slow. Just go low and slow. If you like a tangier taste to it, use mustard for a binder. If you don't, use mayo or use like olive oil. Mm-hmm. Olive oil gets a little expensive, but that's more of a sweeter kind of taste to it. So,
well, it's healthier for you too. Olive oil is.
Right, which is why it's more expensive.
Now, I will put my George Foreman grill up against your barbecue any day. I lock it in, set it, forget it.
Bring it.
I've never used a George Foreman grill.
You got to put bacon on it in the morning on your floor.
Yes.
Yes.
But you got to only if you set it out the night before.
Yep. Because I love the smell of fresh bacon.
Yes.
Hey, Jim. Rebecca, do you want to take the last email?
Dan's meats are tasty.
Last name Sloan. Hello. With episode 100 under your belt, what can we look forward to in the next 100 episodes? Any guests that you haven't gotten on that you would like to? I know you can't give away some things, but was just wondering what to expect. I love the show, and the 3 of you just gelled together. Roslow, last name Sloan.
When I read that email, I went back and read it like 3 times. I really liked that one, especially where he said we all gel together, except for when Dirty Dan's been a dick to me. But, you know, in the next 100 episodes, you can expect more of the same. You can expect, hopefully, some on-the-road travel episodes. As far as guests, if I had to pick like an ultimate guest to be on the show, you know, sadly that guy's passed away. It would have been Art Bell. I would probably say Bob Lazar, you know, but he would be really hard to get. I've tried that before. We will have some guests coming up. And one of the things that I would love is to get Luke Fugit in the studio. Because, yes. I mean, you know, and have him bring one of his experiments that wouldn't blow up the studio to demonstrate for us.
Do I need to put sides on the flatbed and go out there and load it up in the back of the truck so we can have a live out front kind of deal?
Oh, I had not thought about that. That is a good idea. Luke, if you're listening, you know, hey, we want you in the studio. What about you, Rebecca? What would be something that you would want to do over the next 100 episodes and one guest you would really like to have on?
I'm really looking forward to like the on-site camping trip that we were talking about.
Yes.
And doing that over spring break. And as far as the guests, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I'm here for the ride.
Dirty Dan, what about you?
So yeah, I am also really looking forward to getting to do a road show and exploring the Special Place plus 6 miles. Subtle drop, you guys know what I'm talking about. And if anyone actually, you know, pays attention, they'll know too. But I agree with you. I would have loved to have Art Bell on there.
Or are we talking about dead guests that we want?
Oh, no. I'm just, I mean, if I could have had one, if he was alive, it would have been Art Bell. Now, I honestly think that he would have come on. I think he would have ribbed us a little bit, but I think that he had such a sense of humor when he was, and it showed through when he was on air. If he would get pissed at you and you called in, he would cut your ass off and he would berate you after he cut you off. I mean, he was straight up, So
Bill Nye lied to us about everything.
Bill Nye's got his own new show out that tells the truth about everything now. It starts off with some expletives like, I don't have to fucking say this for kids anymore, so buckle up. It's going to get rough.
Okay, I have an answer. I'm going to change my answer. If there was one person that I could get on the show, which I have tried before, and maybe I can try again because it's been a while since I've emailed. I want to get Champ on in the worst way.
Well, see, I was getting ready to ask Champ, and then my brain went another way. But that was actually on the tip of my tongue. I am all for trying to get Bill Nye the Science Guy on. If we do that, okay, we'll probably have to provide a list of questions beforehand because they don't like to be ambushed. And we would have to be nice, and I would ask the Twitch audience to be nice for like maybe 5 minutes, and then we could start. Because once you start that, he's going to hop off and disconnect.
I got one I really want on.
Who?
Adam Savage.
From
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Now, which one was that?
Mythbusters.
Right. Was he the
Jamie Heineman was the great mustachio. Okay. Adam was the redhead one.
Didn't Adam get in some trouble for doing something with somebody underage a few years ago? Are you sure about that?
No, but now I'm going to look.
Okay. I could be totally wrong, but I swear I think I remember reading something or hearing something about that because that was the reason that that he wasn't on the show anymore. I could be totally wrong.
No, the reason was they, like Discovery Channel does most things, ruined it for him. Him and Jamie both got burnt out of it, and they then went to Tori and Grant, rest in peace, Grant, and what was the chick's name?
Tori.
Carrie.
Carrie.
Tori Belleci was the tall white guy.
Okay.
Carrie. And they had their own spinoff, and they had 2 other people in there with them, and then it just got real dumb real quick, and they moved on to their other shows. Like Tori and Carrie are on a Motor Trend TV show now. Unfortunately, Grant Imahara passed away unexpectedly. And the only thing I can find on my Adam Savage here, not the other actor person, is nothing about that. The other Adam Savage got in trouble.
Okay, that may have been where I had it confused. So,
yeah, I mean, he's since they quit Mythbusters, all he's done is a bunch of philanthropy.
Okay.
College speaking stuff, like not stuff someone who did that could still do.
Right. Well, like I said, it was just the other one I got him confused.
He's got his own YouTube channel. So everybody should go check that out. The man, if you get to see Adam be Adam, and he just goes off on these tangents, and that's why I want him on the shows, because of some of the tangents he goes off on and his beliefs on stuff. I would love to pick his brain.
Oh, and there's one more I would love to have on. I would love to get the Iron Sheik on, because you wouldn't be able to understand anything he says, and he would be cursing everything, left and right. The Iron Sheik. If anybody's interested, look up on YouTube Iron Sheik videos, and you will laugh hysterically. If Adam Savage or anybody that's affiliated with him is listening, I did not mean that, or I did not insinuate that. I said I thought that I read that. So as the Dirtydan said, there was another one I just got mixed up.
Right name, wrong person.
Yeah. I want to thank everyone for writing in. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396, or how can they email Dirtydan?
Well, they can email into the show, goose@heretechewbubblegum.com, dirtydan@heretechewbubblegum.com, flockingqueen@gmail.com. You can always email into the show at heretotchewbubblegum@yahoo.com as well.
Now, you guys are good if we keep on going, right? All right. No disrespect for the family or the victim of this next case. This is just something that I stumbled across, and I find it really interesting, and I really looked into this, and I have a very strong opinion. And we're going to open up segment 1. We're going to be talking about the Adam Walsh disappearance from 1981. And if that name sounds familiar to anyone and you can't think of it, his dad, John Walsh, John Walsh, after it happened, he became the host of America's Most Wanted from 88 to 2012. So
like the show's pretty much entirety before it went off the air and then came back.
Yeah. But it has come out now, and this has evidently been going on for several years, since 10 years after Adam, the abduction happened. People now think, and one of the guys that is leading the charge is a retired FBI agent named Neil Pertel, and he claims that he has compelling evidence that Jeffrey Dahmer is the real killer of the 6-year-old Adam Walsh.
I was wondering if that's what you were going to tie this into.
Yes, it is. Have you read on this or heard about this?
Honestly, the first time, so I had heard about Adam Walsh years ago, and I hadn't heard of Jeffrey Dahmer yet. And then when I did, that's immediately where my mind went to first.
Okay. Well,
like, could he be buried next to the shack that he did all the other animals and stuff in?
Well, I mean, dude, I have no answer for that. Rebecca, are you familiar with the Adam Walsh case?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, I will give a little bit of backstory. Before I give backstory on this, I mean, this was national news in 1981. In 1981, I was the same age as Adam. So when this story broke, and especially weeks later after what happened, my mother would not let me out of her sight. I mean, when we went anywhere, I mean, she might as well had a belt, not a belt, but a rope tied to my belt, just dragging me around. You've got a very good point there, Paul. But
well,
I will touch on that when we get there.
I was going to say yes, but no.
Okay, and I will touch on that when we get there and explain why I think that part. You are correct, Kimmy, but there is some evidence that I'm going to discuss that may sway you guys. It has honestly swayed me. Honestly, it has.
First couple of victims weren't gay, though.
The story starts in the summer of 1981, and Adam and his mom were at they lived in Hollywood, Florida. They were at a mall in a Sears store. So Adam, as they were walking through a toy section, he saw these kids playing a Atari, I think. And they were older, and he wanted to stay and watch them. And his mom was just going just a few aisles down. She said that would be totally fine. So he stayed there and watched them. These kids get into a fight. So a security guard that assumes Adam is with them, and they say he was timid and shy and didn't talk to strangers, kicked them out of the store, but they kicked him out of an exit that him and his mom never went in, that she claims he would have never have known. So that explains how he got out of the store. Now, let's see. Let me go down my notes here. There was a witness in the parking lot that claims she saw a man dressed in blue jeans and an army jacket pick Adam up by one arm and throw him in a blue van and drove away. She reported this to the police at the scene. There was actually a total of 2 witnesses, maybe 3, where the police had their information, but they could not find their statements years later. Because first of all, I think that this investigation was bungled. It was mishandled. And I don't think they did a good job with it. Now, during the time that Adam was abducted. It is known and documented that Jeffrey did live in Miami Beach, and he worked at a pizza parlor not far from the Hollywood Mall. He also traveled back and forth to Milwaukee during that time as well. And
this was after he was also discharged from the Army.
Yes. Yes, it was, which will explain the Army jacket. And he also had access to a blue van that is the same make and model and same color, everything, as described by the witness that saw him throwing Adam into the van. Okay, now, before Adam's abduction was reported, the police had a complaint from a Sears employee over a man that had been loitering in the parking lot and inside the Sears store. Now, this witness, whose name has never been given out, says that he followed Jeffrey Dahmer into the Sears store to the toy department where Adam, and this is the exact spot where Adam was last seen by his mother. The witness then goes to find a store employee to let him know what's going on. He comes back with the store employee who's going to run him out, but he's disappeared. The time frame from that, let me read. What was timeline of Adam before string of murders that made Dahmer the story of this? Let's see.
Paul, his murder started in 1978. That was his first known victim, I should say. 3 weeks after high school graduation.
And didn't he almost kill somebody in the Army as well? Wasn't that the reason he was? I mean, I've not watched the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary. That's on Netflix. I've watched one episode and a little bit of the other one. And I
haven't watched the documentary, but I know that he was in West Germany and was somehow not dishonorably discharged because he kept getting in trouble in the Army, just as he did in college and beforehand, without the lewd and criminal exposures to young boys. It was just for his drinking in the Army.
Okay. And
they honorably discharged him because they deemed him the problems that were in the Army were not going to affect his personal life.
Okay. Paul, I hope this answers your question. The Adam case was in 1981, and Dahmer got arrested in 1991. I hope that answers that for you, Paul.
A day before I was born.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, when the mother realizes that, she can't find Adam, they call the police. They start, locking down the area, talking to witnesses and so forth. And they talk to the witness that went and got the employee. You're exactly right, Paul. That's where I'm going to, and I will explain that in just a moment. So they interview the witnesses. The witness gets to give these statements. Like I said, there's no records of these statements. These are the witnesses, what they told Neil Patel. Now, I don't know police work in 1981 like I do now, but I know normally if you've got, a witness statement, that's all together with their name and stuff. They do have the names of these witnesses, but they've lost the statements. I find that odd. I find that very odd. Okay. A couple of weeks before Adam went missing, let's see. Give me 1 second here. A couple of weeks before Adam went missing, there was a body that was found in a dumpster just in the general area of the pizza parlor that Jeffrey worked at. The head was missing on that body. He was never questioned. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've ever been able to identify the guy. So you've got somebody that was in the Army. They have a green Army jacket. They have access to a blue van. There was a body found within walking distance in a dumpster from the place that he worked. You have two different witnesses putting Jeffrey Dahmer in the same place that Adam Walsh was at the same time. You have one witness, and I will tell you exactly how this is her exact quote. She was watching TV when all this stuff about Jeffrey Dahmer broke in Milwaukee in 1991, she saw a picture of Jeffrey on the news. She immediately knew from seeing that picture of him, that was the same man she had saw 10 years before throw Adam into the van and take off. So she calls the Hollywood Police Department right away and tells them who she is, what she reported 10 years ago, and that she just saw the man on TV, and it's the man that has been captured in Milwaukee, Jeffrey Dahmer. So the Hollywood police look into this just a little bit. They never make a connection. They say they can't find any evidence. Well, you know, of course you can't find any evidence. The FBI agent that made this theory is the first one that was at Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. And the way that he described it, what made him think this initially was just a gut feeling. The way the skulls were set up and arranged and the way everything had been done. And so that's what got him looking into Jeffrey Dahmer with the help of and I don't have the other guy's name. They've dug through public records and come up with all this information that I've told you about the body being found, about where Jeffrey Dahmer lived, had access to the blue van, the witnesses, all this stuff. So that is the reason that I think Jeffrey Dahmer is the abductor and killer of Adam Walsh. Adam Walsh, his body was never found, but 16 days later, his head was found in a canal 120 miles away. Now, do you know how many people he killed in 78, Dirtydan? Because this is like 3 years after that. Was it one or two?
One he was convicted of, but Dahmer claimed to have killed, like, wasn't it like a low to mid 30s amount of people? They only ever tied him to 15 and then later a 16th. And
then finally, what, like a 17th? Isn't that what
yeah.
Okay.
I think the 17th was in like 94 after he was killed by that inmate.
Right.
He committed murder and dismemberment of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. And then he received honorable discharge.
Yeah, that's from the Army.
To alcohol abuse.
Yeah. Well, all right. And to answer Paul's question there, that last one, he's like, I'm just thinking random. Perhaps he hadn't had a set of victimology in the beginning. And I totally agree with you on that. That's why I think it was him. When you start out doing something, like when you started cooking, Dirtydan, were you good at the first thing that you cooked, or did you mess up? Do you still do things the exact way, or have you grown in your cooking and do things different?
Well, 9 times out of 10 when I cook, I'm winging it. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
Okay.
You just evolve and learn.
Well, the first couple of times you're going to do something, and think back to when you were practicing.
Oh, I made a lot of hockey pucks.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, and this is something that everybody can relate to. Think back when you were first practicing to get your driver's license. You sucked when you started driving. You thought that, you know, you would never do it, but you eventually did, and you became good at it. When a killer, specifically a serial killer, starts doing something, they may do things a little bit different in the beginning than what they eventually get a habit of doing over and over and over. Let me take just a minute.
Paul's comment here. I have a hot take. Serial killer era was a testing ground for the current incarceration of MK Ultra. Notice how serial killers are more propaganda now than organic. Could explain the fumbling of the investigations that was rampant.
And
Paul's got his thinking cap on today.
That's a very good comment, Paul. But I think it's possible that I think it's 85% possible that Jeffrey Dahmer could have been the guy who murdered Adam Walsh, because, like I said, even though he had his own set of pattern and the way he did stuff before he got caught and during, you know, the time that he was doing it, when you first start out doing something, you do it totally different. I mean, you're not going to do it the exact same way.
His pattern only ended up there the last couple victims. His first So it all started out with him being in high school and being too afraid to come out, right?
Yeah.
And he was obsessed with this jogger that he saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple guys that he tried to do this to and did do it to were not gay. But I want to just note that most of his arrests were of all like boys 12 and under that he exposed himself to in various places.
Right. Well,
so
right.
You know, they're like, oh, he only killed gay men. No,
he didn't.
He just got caught pretty early before it really led to that most of the time. And, you know, maybe Adam Walsh was one that he was able to not get caught on.
Well, here's my question, and Goose, maybe you can answer this, because I don't know.
Okay.
Is the serial killer going to fall out of what their target is if they just see an easy target? Like if something just walks their way and they're like, oh, I could do, right? Like, are they going to take an easy target that doesn't necessarily fit what they normally
do
are attracted to?
That does happen from time to time, but that's very rare. And if that happened most of the time, the reason that their pattern changed is because they've not done it in a very long time, and the urge is so strong, and it's like, it's dropped right in front of them, and they can't pass it up, even though it doesn't fit their norm. But
which is how the cannibalism started.
With animals.
Yeah, yes. yeah. Jeffrey started with animals.
Because I took criminal justice in high school, and we had to do a whole report on. We had to pick a serial killer and do a report on it. And I did Ed Gein, who Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Silence of the Lambs is based off of. And that started with animals. So I just didn't know if it's animals, children, small people, weak men. You know what I mean? Like if there's a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a ramp up, right? Like if it was early on and an easy target, I'm just trying to think outside the box.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, when you first start doing it, the first 3 to 5 times, you don't have a set pattern. You may do something similar, but you may go off track because you're still finding your groove. I mean, like most people, when they learn how to drive, they want to use 2 feet. And one of the things they say, well, why can't you use 2 feet? That's stupid, But you change and you develop a pattern of doing it that way. Paul,
because your left foot's for the man pedal.
Paul, he was 6 years old. That could be possible. And to answer Purple Princess's question really quick, he died he did die in jail. He was beat to death with a broomstick by a fellow inmate.
Beat to death and sodomized.
Okay, well, yeah, metal bar. So,
Dahmer didn't really have a victim type at all for a long time of that too. At least what he said is that it was his fantasy that he went after, not so much a type of person, and that he just wanted to dominate another male.
Right. Oh, okay.
So that's what he was trying to do. He just wanted to instigate a situation to where he could be the dominator of the situation and explore their body and whatnot.
Okay. Now, the agent Neil Patel goes on to say he did interview Dahmer several times, and Dahmer confessed to everything, and Neil specifically asked him, did you have anything to do with the Adam Walsh disappearance and beheading? And he kept saying no. And he told Neil, if I admitted to that in here, they would think I'm a pedophile and they'll kill me. But he did give Patel hints and clues that he was the one that did it. I don't know what those are. I could not find those. But he did give clues. Now, a guy named Otis O'Toole is the guy that they eventually pinned the murder on.
Him and another killer.
Well, you're talking about Henry Lee Lucas, but he was in jail. Henry Lee Lucas was in jail at the time of the Adam Walsh disappearance. But O'Toole,
he's the one that confessed.
O'Toole and Lucas were known associates. Yeah. O'Toole confessed. He recanted. He confessed. He recanted. He confessed. He recanted. he did get some facts straight about, and he could have heard this on the news. He told them that he cut his head off, and he told them that he used a machete. He told them that he drove a body so-and-so and just threw it out the window and buried a body, somewhere on the beach. They took him to allegedly the exact spot and there was nothing there to be found. Nothing's ever been found.
Probably because it was.
I think you're right, Chaotic. I think you're right. But the police never charged O'Toole because there was not enough evidence. They didn't have enough evidence. Now, and Neil Patel even said this in this article. They asked him why that the Hollywood Police Department never put a lot of effort into investigating Dahmer. And I thought this reading the story before he even said it. He said, when police officers make their mind up that they have a suspect and they can tell you why, they focus on that suspect and not anybody else. That's how they did it back in 1981. So that's why he thinks that they didn't investigate harder. Now, John Walsh doesn't believe that Jeffrey Dahmer was the killer. He thinks it was Otis O'Toole. But, all right, Jeffrey Dahmer chopped people up. He chopped people's heads off. He killed animals. He chopped those off. Paul, you were skeptical when we first started. Now that I have laid this out for you, do you think it would be possible? And we're never going to know. Unless, some DNA or a body or of Adams is found or something. Do you think it's possible now, Paul, that Jeffrey Dahmer could be the killer and abductor of Adam Walsh and everyone else watching live on Twitch right now? Do you think it's possible? I think it is possible. Dirty Dan, based on the case I've presented, I feel like I'm in court. What is your conclusion on that?
My conclusion was that, like I said earlier, is I had known who the Adam Walsh case was about, and I didn't know who Jeffrey Dahmer was. I learned about him after Ted Bundy and the Unabomber. And as soon as I read about Jeffrey Dahmer, I was like, he killed that boy. And that was years ago.
Yeah. Well, and Kimmy, you've got a good point there. But the body that was found in the dumpster weeks before near the pizza parlor that Jeffrey Dahmer worked at, it was just beheaded. There was nothing cut out. So, again, when you got somebody just starting out that really don't know what they're doing, and I'm not saying Jeffrey Dahmer knew what he was doing. He didn't because he got caught. But you have little things and quirks and stuff that make us who we are that we're going to do certain ways. When you first start out, maybe just using a machete and decapitating someone was just enough for him. Maybe he didn't start thinking about eating people until later on. Rebecca, what's your thoughts on this?
I think kind of taking all of this in and going off of like some of the comments, I think it's completely possible, as far as your question goes, that Jeffrey is responsible for Adam. Now, going off of the MK Ultra and like these serial killers being recruited by the elites and the MK Ultra, like is this the MK Ultra that swung too far the other direction and they got out of control, which is why they started eating people and killing kids, and like they weren't able to follow through with the commands. And I also find it interesting that he worked at a pizza parlor and the pizza was their cover-up for everything.
Yeah, well, I actually did not make that connection with the pizza parlor until you said it. Really quick, Dirty Dan, I'll let you go.
He started out as a delicatessen.
Oh, okay, but it was a pizza parlor eventually, right?
He got fired for misconduct.
Okay,
again, exposing himself, and then went to a pizza joint.
Okay, Kimmy, yes, and I actually thought about that. Him being a coward, he wanted to get a small victim first. What did you say, cowhide?
No, I said without pineapple.
Oh, okay.
Kimmy said she loves pizza and then said without pineapple just to irk Rebecca.
I honestly think that this is worth another look, because one of the things, too, that really convinces me that he did it is when the woman 10 years prior saw him saw him. I mean, because she saw pictures of Adam. She knew exactly who Adam was. Saw him pick him up by one arm and throw him in the van. That image stuck with her. And she's never forgot it. And 10 years later, when she saw his picture, within minutes, she picked up the phone and called the Hollywood Police Department in Florida. Gave him her name, told him, she was there the day it happened, and told him it was Jeffrey Dahmer.
I just think that, this right here, so this is Jeffrey Dahmer.
Uh-huh.
This is Adam Walsh, and this is who they're saying killed it. Like, they are completely different people.
Yes,
like, it's
they
not
are.
even like this guy looks like Dahmer.
He doesn't look anything like Dahmer. And,
right. So if that's what she said she saw, I mean, where's the older picture of him? There he is.
Still not
that other guy.
No. Now, I've...
Oh my God.
Oh, what did Paul say?
Oh my God.
Oh.
And Paul said this is a bad joke wording. He
Yeah.
started with kids, realized they were little monsters, and decided adults were easier to deal with.
Oh.
I don't know. If somebody ever kidnapped me, I would just kind of like talk there. They would just drop me off. I'd be too much.
Now, this has been known to happen, especially back in the 80s. And I told you how they could become so focused back then. Now, from what I've read about O'Toole's past, he had caused them a lot of trouble. So if you want to, he was already in prison, yes, but if you want to make sure somebody stays there so you don't have to deal with their bullshit, what are you going to do? You're going to be, this is the guy. This is the guy, I really don't think it was Otis O'Toole because he got so many things wrong. The things he got right was put out in the media, either television or print or radio. I mean, jails and prisons, they had AM, FM radios all the time back then, in their cells. So I'm sure he could have heard that.
And my biggest thing on it is that, Adam wouldn't have been his first. So he already had somewhat of a clue of what he was doing. So it's not going to be someone's first time because they haven't been able to find anything, right? They have no clues, no indicators.
Right.
Second is that if you realize that you saw someone in the act of something heinous, that's going to cause you a trauma. And that Sears employee instantly trauma back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like victim identity crisis right there. And third is that Dahmer stated over and over again, and again, like I said, with his arrest, most of his arrests, his prior arrests, while he was out doing this shit, was because he was around little kids, exposing himself, urinating in a river, quote unquote. Yeah. Didn't realize there was witnesses, quote unquote. All he wanted, he didn't have the type. He just had the fantasy that kept sparking his interest in wanting to go through of dominating someone. Right. And exploring the body. So why would you not, unfortunately, pick someone who is much smaller than? Because anytime Dahmer had trouble with his victims, and like the last one that got away, like they're simply too strong for him. Dahmer wasn't a built guy.
No, he wasn't.
So he had to be very tactful, or just be able to overpower someone who would be significantly smaller than him.
Right.
And if he had behaved during the Army, that was freshly when he came back. So you got to think a 2 or 3 year hiatus there. Yeah, that probably was his first one, an easy pick.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. You are right. Rebecca's 30 minutes, and according to the Google app on my phone, it is 20.3 miles. So... And Paul, we're talking about Miami, Florida, not Miami, California, or Hollywood, California. We're talking about Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood,
and not
California.
Miami, Ohio.
Yeah. So, let's see. What did Chaotic say? I mean, how crazy is the thought that him and Epstein knew each other? Very, very. I just wanted to put that out there to make everyone that listens and watch to just, first make you aware of it, because there's a lot of people still, you know, it happened so long ago, and if you're my age, I'm sure you actually remember it. You know, because shortly after that, there was a local kid that was my age, about 6 months later, that got kidnapped, and he's still never been found. No body, no clues, no nothing. And, you know, again, that made my mom hover me. So, Dirty Dan, Rebecca, do you guys have anything to talk about, or do you want to take a break or skip on down to segment 3? What do you guys want to do?
I mean, there is a little news article that I just saw the other day. It's what?
I think I know which one you're going to talk about.
The chicken wing?
Oh, no.
What did you think I was going to talk about then?
The horse galloping.
Oh, no, that was yesterday. Yeah, someone got a DUI in California for galloping on a horse drunk. This one is about a Hooters waitress out of Houston, Texas, that was caught dipping hot wings in her vagina.
Why would someone do that? Why?
To get them extra crispy, Goose.
Oh.
And no, it wasn't like just ordering her own. It was ones that she would pick up before she took them out to the table.
They wanted extra sauce. I'm sorry.
Oh. That's, feel the burn. Yeah, that's, did she get arrested? What happened after that?
Oh yeah, she got arrested when the coworkers finally caught her doing it, and they stopped it from going out to the customer, and the manager called the police.
You know, you really don't know what these people in fast food places do. Do you guys remember? It's been maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. They put the pictures. Might have been longer than 10 years. They were the pictures of the kids that worked at KFC that closed down for the night, and they decided to take a bath in the big sink, and they had pictures posted of them taking a bubble bath in the commercial size sink, and it was like their jacuzzi hot tub. Do you guys actually, do you remember seeing those pictures or anything?
I do not.
Yeah, you'll have to
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, Google up just KFC bathtub.
All right. I will do that.
Here for this.
KFC bathtub.
And you should be able to find those.
Don't worry, sweetheart. If you ever die, I'll clear your search history.
Yep.
You see it, right?
Yep, they were bathing in bikinis.
Yeah. Is that not one of the funniest pictures? And they're actually smiling at it like they're having the time of their life.
Yeah, that is. Nope.
Who the fuck is calling me?
Nope. What? Now
I don't think the Colonel would approve.
No, you know what would be funny is if, you know, they actually got in there, they filled it up, they got in, and the guy taking the picture, if it would have failed and came off the wall, that would have been hilarious. But nobody would have found out about this, but they posted it on social media. And, you know, I mean, that's one of the things that I've saw online that sticks with me, kind of similar to the Turd Girl picture from the old MySpace days. You know, those things like that, you know, you just don't forget about.
Yeah. It definitely looks like a MySpace photo.
And well, that one might have been posted on MySpace as well. So I always thought that was odd. So you guys want to take a quick break, 5 minutes, and come back, and we'll wrap everything up and go down to segment 3, and you can read some question of the week responses, give some new questions and all that good stuff. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. If you're listening to the podcast version, we'll be back right after the news. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them wanna use you, of them wanna be abused.
With the news, I am Goose. NASA detects the most powerful cosmic gamma ray burst ever discovered. On Sunday, October 9th, astronomers around the world were privy to an unusual, bright, and long-lasting pulse of high-energy radiation that swept over the Earth, according to NASA. They issued the statement on the following Thursday. The source of the event was a gamma ray burst, also known as a GRB. This is one of the most luminous events ever known. A wave of X-rays and gamma rays passing through our solar system. Astronomers realized the event was taking place when NASA, their space telescope, as well as other telescopes, detected a ray of X-rays and gamma rays passing through the solar system. They called the GRB event 221009A. Astronomers can explain a black hole burp years after it ate a star. Black holes have been seen to chow down on stars that wander too close, resulting in a bright stellar show. But now a black hole has been seen doing something no one has ever seen before. It burped up material several years after eating a star, leaving astronomers baffled. Black holes are famous for being ravenous objects, swallowing up everything that gets too close, including light itself. When the stars are on the menu, the intense gravitational forces stretch the material out in long strands in an event known as tidal disruption event, or also TDE. This produces clear signals of light, radio, and other waves that astronomers can detect as bursts that last a few weeks or even months. In October 2018, astronomers detected and studied a TDE known as AT2018HYZ. It seemed to be pretty average for this kind of event. A star just 1/10 of the mass of the sun was being swallowed by the black hole, which is about 665 million light years away. The light show faded over a few months, and astronomers didn't give it really much thought after that. That is until June of 2021, when the black hole suddenly fired back up with radio signals. The emission appears to be an outflow as a result of the material being thrown back into space as the black hole shredded the star. But this usually shows up within days or weeks of the initial event, not years later. This caught us completely by surprise. No one has ever seen anything like this before, said Yvette Sandys, the lead author of the study. It's as if this black hole started burping out material from the star hit 8 years ago. These burps have a lot of power behind them too. The team calculated that they're traveling around half the light of speed, which is about 5 times faster than most TDE outflows. Mars very likely hosted subterranean alien life and still may, say some scientists. Organisms called methogens likely lived underground in layers on Mars billions of years ago, a new study says. The study also says they may still exist. Mars was very likely inhabitable for life around 3.7 billion years ago, and may still be home to some of these resilient organisms. According to a new study that presents a tantalizing glimpse of how a microbacterial alien could have emerged and survived on the red planet, modern Mars is cold and desolate, making it inhospitable to most life forms. But there is abundant of evidence that the world was warmer, wetter, and more welcoming to life in the past. For instance, NASA's Perseverance rover is currently exploring the parched remains of what was once a vast ancient lake bed on Mars, known as Jezero Crater, in part to search for traces of extinct aliens that might have lived there billions of years ago. While there's no concrete evidence that life has ever existed on Mars, scientists have speculated that the organisms, which are the most ancient life forms on Earth, could have been well-studied conditions on early Mars. These organisms derive energy from hydrogen and carbon dioxide, which are available on ancient Mars, and they release methane as a waste product. Former Area 51 senior scientist claims aliens are here and they are also friendly. And that was his last interview. Boyd Bushman passed away several years ago, but he was better known as the senior scientist at Lockheed Martin. During his time at Lockheed Martin, he attempted to keep such rumors out of the public spotlight, but he eventually revealed to have previously worked in Area 51 under and alongside aliens. He also displayed how he disassembled the Roswell crash. He mentioned aliens from the Plutonium system, which is around 68 light years from Earth. The fact that these aliens could travel at a distance that normally would take up 68,000 years to complete shows how much more advanced their technology is than we are. He also showed pictures of these 4 to 5 foot tall aliens and stated that Area 51 has at least 18 active operatives. He also showed pictures of the aliens' home planet, and they were able to take these pictures because humans that they worked with gave them cameras, and the aliens said they could go back and forth from their system to Earth in about 45 minutes. A savage grandmother has a family ranking board, and here's why she puts me in my place, said a man on Tik Tok. A New York man has been brutally shafted to last place by his grandmother's ranking board because of his new tattoos. Dan Lamont, 27, of TikTok, on Monday revealed that his unnamed Nana ranks him her 10th favorite grandchild. And the display is set up in the living room. This is my grandmother's ranking board, the grandson stated in the video. This is my grandmother's ranking board, the grandson stated in the video, which quickly clocked up 1.6 million views on the social media app. She has a wooden board where she ranks the grandchildren from 1 to 10, and all of our faces are magnets. He further explained. In the clip, he was showing the cutthroat classification system. I'm currently number 4. That's the highest I've ever been. But I did just get 2 new tattoos. So I'm a little bit nervous on what's going to happen and my ranking. He is seen approaching his no-nonsense Nana before lifting up his sleeve to show her the ink on his arm. The grandmother was seen gasping in horror as she laid eyes on the large tattoos. She immediately started moving the board and making a major adjustment. This is what I think of your new tattoos, she declared, as she pulled Lamont's magnet from 4th to 10th. For Here to Chew Bubblegum News, I am Goose.
Are you a horror movie fan? Yeah, I dig horror movies. Are you searching for a great internet horror talk radio show to listen to? Why, sure, that sounds quite spiffy. Then you need to tune into deadpit.com. It's the original horror talk radio show. Dead Pit is a show by the fans and for the fans. Uncensored and unbiased opinions are the goal of the show, giving fans honest reviews on new films and vintage classics of the horror genre. Make deadpit.com your #1 horror station destination.
You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. If Abraham Lincoln were alive, he'd listen. But he's dead.
And welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry we got off so quick there. I had to take a break. I was either going to go use the restroom or try to find a pee cup somewhere.
Well, I appreciate you taking the break and finding the restroom.
Okay. What? You wouldn't have saw it. It would have been under the table. Nobody would have saw it. So
It doesn't matter. I don't understand why. It must be like a guy thing because all of the men in my life seem to just like to talk to me on the phone while they're taking a fucking piss. I don't understand.
Oh, Purple Princess, I'm sorry you had a bad day. I hope it gets better. There was, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I used to love that show. There was an episode that they did kind of like Office style, and Karl was like talking to the camera, and he was taking them through his house, and he was sitting in his recliner, and there was this like old coffee can sitting there. He's like, "This is my pee can. I like to save water, so I pee in it all day, and then when it gets full, I pull it down the drain." I always, I thought that was funny. Gatorade bottles are the best pee cups.
Well, just do what truck drivers do and get your gallon jugs and just keep them all around your driver's seat.
Well, hey, that works too. Question of the week responses. Rebecca.
Yes.
We had a very great question of the week last week.
I'm fighting with my phone cord at the moment. I'm trying to keep my phone plugged in, and it's just there's too many things happening right now.
Oh, I can understand that.
We're doing the question of the week. Okay. So the question of the week was, is technology helping or hurting meaningful communication? Now, these are on the regular Flockingqueen account, and I did figure out how to make the categories on the TikTok.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so there's a whole category I put the question of the week videos in there.
Well, all you have to do is open up an editing program and then just edit it on your phone and then just upload it. I'm just joking
and then we're
with
just
you.
going to send it to another place and upload it there and then upload it here. Yeah, I gotcha. All right. So this question of the week was, is technology helping or hurting meaningful communication? And here are some of the responses. Both and neither. It's a tool. It's about the intent of the user. You can write a whole book on each side of this conversation. It's definitely both. Personally, it's hurting, but that's a me thing. Depends on how it's used. If it's a bridge during a wait time, it's great. If it's used to replace meaningful conversation, then it hurts. A lot of people said hurting all the way. A lot of people said both. I've pondered on this a lot because I feel I have so many friends on here, but because I'm camera shy, I don't think as much of myself is seen or heard. Miss hugs and the face-to-face communication. Meaningful can be anywhere, though, for sure, and this community means a lot. Both. Torn on this. Without tech, I wouldn't have you amazing people in my life. Not ready to give that up. It's disruptive to the pineal gland. Its vibes are polarizing our consciousness state, so we are unable to reach total nirvana. Hurting. There's no inflection or body language. A bit of both. Age. It hurts and helps adults, but I feel it's ruining young people's communication skills. Technology, yes. Social media, no, because of increased censorship. Both. Helps find like-minded souls and people. Absolutely hurting while it makes things easier, it removes intimacy between humans. Helps with speed, but meaning can be lost in translation. Hurting in most cases. We only know each other because of it, but more negative than positive comes from it. Hurting it, people have no idea how to communicate anymore. I feel youngsters are not doing well with it. Adults made a choice with it. There was another one here that I wanted to read. Both. Some examples. Emergencies are helped faster. Narcissistic people use it to destroy others. Tools are neutral. Users are not.
That's some great answers. You know, me personally, I think that it depends on how you use it. If you use it for good things are going to happen and come from it. If you use it, if you misuse it, or if you're narcissistic and you get on there and bully and berate people, or, you try to help someone, or you do help someone and then you post about it, you're not really helping that person. I hate it when people do that.
Clout chasing.
Every single time that I've done something for someone to help them, I always tell them, hey, I'm going to do this, but here's the deal. There's two things. Do not tell anybody about it, and pay it forward if you ever get the chance. I'd feel better doing it that way. I think it just depends on how you use it. What's your thoughts, Dirtydan?
I mean, I agree with what you said. Like, I hear about the TikTok drama all the time, and I never know what's going on. I never know what's going on in there. And it's a lot of clout chasing, and I don't give a flying fuck. I couldn't afford to give a fuck even if it was financed. Thank you, Tom McDonald. It angers me. It clouds me with that. I shut it out because I don't care. I get angry from it.
Well, and it's easy to get angry and upset over social media drama, but I try not to. I honestly try to not get upset over anything. Now, I don't succeed at that, obviously, because I do at times, but life is so short. And I could care less what some stranger in Idaho thinks about what I'm saying about, here trying to help people with the flood, and during the flood back here, if it wasn't for cell phones with specifically Facebook, there was a lot of people that would not know where somebody was at, if they needed rescued,
right.
If they didn't, it helped out a lot. I mean, it was a lifesaver, because their landlines were washed, so.
And I understand that, and I get that, but like I said last week too, and when we initially asked it about just between Rebecca and I, like, does it help? Yes, but it also has its own stupid mind of its own and will literally change shit right before our eyes.
Yeah, and and like you guys did say too last week, there's some things that you can't interpret. You can interpret it one way when it's been another way. That happens to me quite often. I should go around with my foot in my mouth all the time, or what's the new question of the week, Rebecca?
You guys are going to like this one. Why do some people refuse to take responsibility for their actions?
Oh, that's a good one. Why do some people refuse to take responsibility for their actions?
Ego.
Possibly. I think part of that, my answer would be that they don't think they're wrong. They honestly think that they're right. They can justify in their mind doing something that would seem like total horseshit to us, but it makes perfect sense to him, or them, because they did it.
Yeah, but that's not taking responsibility. You're talking about whether it's right or wrong. This is about taking responsibility for their actions. I think people don't take responsibility for their actions because they're afraid of the consequences of those actions. Not that they're trying to justify it. It's they're not even taking responsibility for it.
Well, see, I think that they go hand in hand because, like you said, they would be, there are certain people that I have met through my life that throw people under the bus every chance they get. You could give this person a go brick and tomorrow they would be talking about you and then you confront them and you're like, hey, or, well, and I'll give you an example. There's a friend of mine named Cherokee. I've caught him on the show before. He was helping a guy out years ago. I'm not going to say the guy's name. But he helped this guy buy a car. He was down on his luck. He, bought a car. And Cherokee helped him, with the car. He used the own guy's money. The guy used his own money to get the car. My friend took him to get the car, done all this and that, filled the car up for him. 2 weeks later, the guy calls and he goes, that car you taught me into buying? There's a flat tire. So my friend Cherokee went and bought him a tire. This guy never took responsibility for anything. Not for his actions, not for, consequences. He didn't give a shit, And
so because he made him allegedly buy that car, he then made him drive over something to cause himself to get a flat tire?
Well, I don't know. It never came out. The guy had the car for quite a while, and I think the alternator went out on it, and my buddy helped him fix that. I think he actually paid for some of that, and then something else went wrong, and my friend's like, look, you're going to have to do it for yourself, And so it's well, he actually lives, or used to live. I don't think he lives there anymore. He used to live in your former neck of the woods, and really quick, funny story. This guy, and it's not funny. I'm not making fun of anybody that's homeless. That is not funny. That's a problem. But when you have the ability and the effort to support yourself, you've done it in the past, and all of a sudden you just quit because you're relying on somebody else, and you get evicted, and you lost all your possessions, and you've got clothes, and that's it, and your animals are gone, and you're on social media constantly telling people how bad it is and what's going on with your life, and then I get a call, and he's like, hey, I found a place to stay, $70 a month. I'm like, damn, man, that's good. I'm like, were you staying in a RV park? Or are you in a tent or what? He's like, no, I've rented a storage unit. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, I'm living in a storage unit. I'm like, isn't that illegal? He's like, yeah, it is. He's like, but I've got a small TV. I went to a pawn shop and bought a PlayStation. He's like, man, I've got it good. I'm like, isn't it going to be cold in the winter? He's like, oh, I'm going to buy some heaters. I'm like, how are you going to afford that? He's like, I'm going to sell some plasma. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me, man. So a couple of days goes by, and he calls me back. He's like, well, I don't have a place to live. I'm like, what happened? I was playing a video game too loud, and the security guard caught me and come to my storage unit, and, they kicked me out. And I'm like, did you get your money back? No, they wouldn't give my money back. I'm like, oh, okay. So then this same guy, somebody takes him in their home. They have a small child. He's there a couple of weeks, not really cleaning the house, not really doing anything, just living life. They leave, and they're like, I fixed spaghetti for so-and-so. There's only one breadstick. He really likes those. Don't eat that breadstick. When the lady left, guess what he done?
Ate the breadstick.
Yes, he did. Guess
it's
what?
always the breadsticks.
Guess what
Always
she
the
done?
breadsticks.
Guess what she done when she come home?
Kicked him out.
Yes, she did. So,
because you had one simple instruction.
Don't eat the breadstick.
One.
So
Don't eat the goddamn breadstick. And the first thing he does is shoves that breadstick so far down his uvula he can touch it out of his butthole.
Yep. So that must have been a damn good breadstick. So,
Probably Olive Garden.
I want to remind everyone to be sure to check out upcoming episodes of Just Listen on YouTube, Cooking with Dirtydan on TikTok. Be sure to look at the dates in the description because it could be pinned old videos. That's very important. And I want everyone to check out and follow Rebecca Short.
Oh my God, we didn't do the TikToker of the week.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I totally forgot that. Before I talk about that, our TikToker of the week is Arc Kids Mama. You can find her on TikTok, and that is her username, @ARCKIDS Mama, Arc Kids Mama. Our TikToker of the week. I don't know how I skipped that. Be sure to check out Rebecca Short on TikTok. Just search Flockingqueen and Queen of the Flock 138 on Twitch to follow her there. And oh, you are the TikToker of the week. Congratulations. But Queen of the Flock 138 on Twitch. Take it away, Dirty Dan.
And as always, don't forget to go check out and show some love to a couple friends of the show. You got Carbon Capture Shield, the company founded by our very own DJ Nicky, or Daryl J. Nicky II. As we mentioned earlier, we got to get him back on for that NASA talk.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can check out what he's doing over in Africa and Europe, and getting ready to bring back to the stateside here soon. CarbonCaptureShield.com. Also, be sure to check out Till Valhalla Project, Goose's absolute favorite thing to say. The TVP team has some great shirts and pieces to show a very important message that we all seem to forget about sometimes, and go over there, check it out, spread the awareness, spread the word. It's just a simple conversation. You don't know who you're going to help save for nothing. And go check out adventureswithpurpose.com. You can check them out on YouTube, Adventures with Purpose. See all the good they help bring closure to communities and families and friends alike, and all volunteer based. And if you know or are affected by a situation like that, feel free to reach out to them. I know Jared will get in touch with you.
Definitely. Well, that'll do it for this week. Remember, we all have a voice. If we stand together, we can make the world a better place. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now, and don't eat the breadstick.
Maybe I'm not leaving. Maybe I'm just going home.
Bye, Flockers.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail for Here to Chew Bubblegum at 606-373-3396. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.